During the 1980s, major theme park operators around the United States started building their next generation of theme parks. While most major populated areas of the country had a major amusement park, these new, kid-focused smaller parks would open the way to a new experience that wouldn't have to compete. The kid-focused entertainment theme parks were here, and one park in Texas was set to become the first of 20. Hanna Barbera Land would open for only 2 seasons before closing forever, and the idea was abandoned, until it was reborn many, many years later. After the theme park boom of the 60s and 70s, during the next decade of the 1980s, theme parks were looking for ways to branch out in a market that was becoming quite saturated. Most major populated areas had a major theme park to bring visitors in, offering bigger and bigger rides. To try and be able to expand even further, park operations would think small. In 1980, Bush Entertainment will be looking to expand into the north of the USA. They had parks in Virginia and Florida, but wanted to open a third. Philadelphia had iconic major parks just a stone throw away. To try and offer something different, they would create Sesame Place, a prototype theme park aimed at children.
Hey, come and play, all the kids will say, they've had a lovely stay at Sesame Place. They'll learn something new, play the whole time through. There's so much to see and do at Sesame Place.
Thanks, Dad.
Sesame Place, the place to play and learn.
Dubbed the nation's first family play park, it invited those with young children to a place that was fun, yet educational, where parents and children could interact together in a fun environment. Called a 21st century playground and a totally new idea, it would be a theme park without passive rides or shows. A place of young children were encouraged to interact with each other and learn.
Sesame Place, which is located in Langhorne, Pennsylvania near Philadelphia, has been called the playground of the future, a theme park where children and their parents supply the power for everything they do and see. And while giant theme parks like Disney World and Busch Gardens and King's Dominion can take up more than 300 acres of space, Sesame Place takes up only 3. And there's one other difference in Sesame Place besides it being a lot of fun. It's also educational.
The concept seemed to be a success, and in a country that was deemed to have a major park in every populated area, it was seen as a way for entertainment companies to expand, have a new share of the market in different areas that already had many entertainment offerings. After the success of Sesame Place, they quickly began working on a second location in Dallas, Texas. People were starting to notice the success that these small, lower-cost offerings could bring, and other companies began looking at ways that they could do this. It was rumored that the next to do it would be Disney.
Are you having a nice time?
I'm having a wonderful time. I wish that I was 5 years old again.
Isn't that true?
Disney, inspired by the success of Busch, was studying the impact of opening their own small mini theme parks. Disney called their potential entertainment centers a concept that was still evolving, and that their version was so undefined right now that they hesitated to talk about it. But what they did say was that it would be a 3 or 4 hour experience for families that would carry an Epcot-like experience in a smaller package. The news that Disney would potentially be coming into the small theme park business had worried other operators, as they surely would not be able to compete. A spokesperson for Busch said that the market isn't all that large, considering only 12% of all families have children 3 to 12, something that they likely should have considered a little bit more. It didn't stop each park operator from trying though, and they each wanted to expand with their own concept. And just after the second Sesame Place opened in Texas, another was about to join. this time just outside of Houston.
You can try new things, have some fun. You can try to bounce, try to fly, or try to reach as high as the sky.
You can take my place to Sesame Place. I'm climbing higher than before. I'm sliding faster.
Wait, there's more.
In 1957, Bill Hanna and Joseph Barbera, after being let go from MGM, formed their own company, Hanna Barbera Productions, and their first 6-minute animated cartoon series for NBC, Rough and Ready, was not only a major success, they had come up with a way to produce it for far less than any previous cartoon from MGM. Hit after hit kept coming with even more success. First with Huckleberry Hound Show, which was the first animated cartoon to win an Emmy, the first of many for the studio. That was quickly followed by Quick Draw McGraw, then the Flintstones, Top Cat, Yogi Bear, the Jetsons, show after show, which would be on primetime, that would push the studio into legendary status and provide entertainment for many, many generations. In December 1966, Taft Broadcasting, a radio and TV broadcaster that began in Cincinnati before expanding, purchased the Hanna-Barbera cartoon studio from its founders for $12 million, and it became a part of the Taft Broadcasting Company. When it came time for Taft Broadcasting to build its first theme park, Kings Island, it was the obvious choice to include the iconic Hanna-Barbera, and the company's founders would work as creative developers for this new project. Taft had wanted to build a theme park to use their assets to bring it to life, and Kings Island would be considered an expansion of their already popular TV network. The Happy Land of Hanna-Barbera, one of the sections of the new Kings Island when it opened in 1972, was an instant success, bringing the characters from the cartoons to life for everyone to see. Following this success, the characters would feature at a second park, King's Dominion, in 1975. They would be added to Carowinds after the company purchased that park, along with being featured at Canada's Wonderland. The areas were so popular that they decided they would create a whole theme park built around it, taking the concept of the areas from each park and making that be one of those new, now becoming popular, smaller kid experiences. The Houston area already had a major park with Astro World, so there would be no way they could build another Kings Island in that area. However, it didn't mean that they couldn't build a kid theme park. In 1982, it was announced that Taft Broadcasting will build its very first dedicated Hanna-Barbera theme park in Spring, Texas, Hanna Barbera Land.
It's a special place. It's a place for fun.
Introducing Hanna Barbera Land.
A place for meeting, laughing, eating. A place for fun.
Hanna Barbera Land, where you can have a ball, share a show, even see your name in lights.
A place for surfing, climbing, sharing. It's a place for fun.
They would take inspiration not only from what Bush had done with Sesame Place, but from the area of the original parks that was incredibly popular with children, to build a place that they could promote parent-child participation, yet also feature attractions to what had become an incredible success at the Kings Park. Set to be open in 1984 on a 30-acre site, 20 miles north of Houston in Texas, the $15 million project was the latest addition to Taft Broadcasting's theme park enterprise. This was seen as a brand new concept, designed for families with children aged 13 and under, and was set to be the first of many, with plans to build Hanna-Barbera lands in 20 major market areas throughout the United States.
Hanna Barbera Land is a new family park that's opened up in North Houston. Well, we'd like to show you the park, so we brought along 62 second graders from Ogden Elementary School, and we're going to show you the park through their eyes.
The brand new theme park near Interstate 45 in North Harris County broke construction in mid-1983, employing 200 construction workers from 2 companies to build. The new project will be managed by Alexander Weber Jr., who was also responsible for the construction and operations of this new park, and had previously been the director of park operations at Carowinds. Al Weber would go on later to become CEO of Paramount Parks, COO of Six Flags, and vice chairman of IAPA. King's Entertainment said that the new idea for the standalone Hanna-Barbera Land came after surveys at Kings Island showed parents of younger children enjoyed the Flintstones and Smurfs better than the stomach-tossing rides. Quality entertainment for parents with children under 13 isn't readily available in most areas. They believed that Hanna Barbera Land would fill that need. During the construction of the park, Taft Broadcasting would actually sell the majority of its theme parks, including the upcoming Hanna Barbera Land, for $167.5 million to a management group of executives from within Taft and 2 financial institutions. The new company, King's Entertainment Co., would keep things mostly the same, however it left Taft now to focus on expanding their broadcasting operations. This new company running the parks was given a license to keep using the Hanna-Barbera characters. As the park began construction, rumors continued that Disney would be opening a theme park near Houston. Some believe people were confusing the upcoming Hanna-Barbera park as a Disney park. Disney, though, denied they would be opening anything in Texas. This new generation Yabba Dabba Doo theme park for ages 13 and under, Hanna Barbera Land, will be an 8-acre theme park and set to open on March 31st, 1984, the first of what King's Entertainment Company hoped to be a series of parks around the nation. The park would feature costume characters including Yogi Bear, Scooby-Doo, and Huckleberry Hound. The Smurfs would make their home within a Victorian townscape. Inside you could find Old McScrappy's farm, Handy Smurf's Wacky Waterworks, and Yogi's Yacht Club. The HBL Funliner allowed kids to plunge into colourful balls and climb its cargo nets. The Scooby's Ghoster Coaster was open to all ages. An Intamin Children's Steel roller coaster, and the park insisted it was only one of 2 passive attractions in the whole park. The other would be a carousel where horses had been replaced by Yogi, Huckleberry, and their friends. Everything else was designed for active participation by children. The Funsonian would be an indoor area with computers and electronic play elements similar to a kid-friendly Innoventions from Epcot. They proudly boasted that there will be no video games within, which the parents greatly liked. Yet children could appear in a cartoon with their favorite characters or put their name up in lights. The whole park was nicely landscaped and characters walked throughout. Live entertainment was a big staple of the small 8-acre park, with marionette shows, music variety shows, and Hanna-Barbera characters featured throughout. Food restaurants for hungry children included Papa Smurf's Forest Restaurant, Huckleberry's Farm, or Shaggy's Diner. The food was said to be average, with sandwiches, pizzas, and hot dogs a staple. Reports state that employees working at the park were called courteous, smiling, and happy to help. Everything within the park had been designed for children, with door handles being on 2 levels for kids or adults.
It's never changing. Don't you hear me? I'm saying I want you for the rest of my life.
Hanna-Barbera Land will be open daily during the summer and weekends only during the fall, closing throughout winter, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Admission would cost $7.50 for adults and $6.50 for children, with $1 parking. They insisted the attraction was not designed for families to stay all day, as kids got tired. They expected normally around a 4-hour visit. This, however, when families were spending their money on tickets, would never be, and those that came wanted to stay all day. If there wasn't enough, many reported that the day was boring and not worth the cost. Something that a major theme park had made the norm, a park filled with things to do for your one ticket price all day long. At opening, there wasn't really too much to do, according to visitors, even if there wasn't designed to be, but it was a huge hit with children. 3 months after opening, the park would add 3 more shows, along with increasing the frequency of the park shows. They also added a large screen in Funsonian that showed Scooby-Doo cartoons all day long. If Mickey Mouse and Big Bird could do it, then so could Yogi Bear. Yet what had been dubbed a new generation theme park really wasn't that much different from what you could find elsewhere, other than the Hanna-Barbera twist. For cartoons that had spanned generation, the park should have had a ready-made audience, and while kids loved it, those visiting did not want to spend money within. Hanna Barbera Land had hoped to attract 600,000 visitors in the first year. The opening week looked extremely promising after a great attendance. 3 days of the opening week were filled to capacity. In the end, the opening year did okay. Not the numbers expected, but it was popular with school groups and kids. After closing for the first winter, the park was ready to reopen in March 1985. Not much had really changed since the additional shows were added, but the park's second year added twin water slides. Kids loved the place, wanted to come back over and over, and for the park's second season, attendance had risen. When the park closed at the end of 1985, nobody realized that it would never reopen again. While the park had good attendance, children were not known to buy many souvenirs. Or, well, anything at all. Parents would buy the odd plush, but most would never spend more than the price of the ticket to entertain their children for hours. Food was mostly brought in from home, and not purchased. It just did not make very much money in the tough 80s Houston economy. The factor that really hurt the park, though, was its location. Around 40 minutes north of Houston, families were still choosing to go to Astroworld and its centrally located amusement park than just take their children to Hanna Barbera Land. Six Flags had recently purchased the Astroworld park and were invested big money into it. This included in 1985, during the second season of the Hanna Barbera park, the addition of Looney Tunes characters to Astroworld in the Enchanted Kingdom. A big draw for families with children during the mid-80s. Families would choose to take their children, regardless of age, to Astroworld, rather than the very specific kid-only theme park of Hanna Barbera. King's Entertainment, who had just opened another theme park in Australia, decided the family entertainment mini theme park was not going to work. Rather than continue after the 1985 season, they would sell the park to private investors. The rides and anything Hanna-Barbera was removed. The Scooby-Doo roller coaster was taken down and would reopen at Great America as the Blue Streak. Today, it still operates in the park as the Woodstock Express. The Victorian buildings would remain, and the only attraction that would be kept was the twin slides that were added in the second season. The new developers of the former theme park would turn Hanna Barbera Land into a water park. Splashtown, USA would open on May 23, 1987, with 11 slides. Water parks were now the new next generation of amusement parks that could go anywhere throughout the United States without fear of competition from major amusement parks. Much of the buildings from the former park remained, such as the restaurants. Over the following years, the park would be sold twice, eventually being purchased by Six Flags to stop competition with its Six Flags Waterworld park. Today, the park is called Six Flags Hurricane Harbor Splashtown. You would have no idea when visiting that you were on the site of the former Hanna Barbera Land theme park. Very little was said when the park was closed and was reimagined. It is often a place that has been forgotten about, except for the kids who got to visit it during its short existence. Over the next decade or so, many of the Hanna Barbera lands at the remaining King's Entertainment parks were replaced or converted to new themes as the parks were sold to different owners. The next generation kids theme parks had mostly failed. While King's Entertainment considered themselves smarter than the average bear with the idea, Hanna Barbera Land, once envisioned to have 20 locations around the United States, would now have none. Bush's venture into Texas with Sesame Place Dallas would also only last 2 years, closing in January 1985, citing lower than expected attendance and financial performance. The boom of kid-friendly parks never came, and the amusement park companies went back to focusing on major parks and additions to them. Disney, after research, decided to not create mini theme parks throughout the country during the 80s. In the world of theme parks, everything seems to come around again. On February 24, 2022, Merlin opened a small theme park focused on interactive elements for children adjacent to its Legoland Florida. Peppa Pig Theme Park Florida was designed to be the ultimate day for little ones, complete with live shows, interactive attractions, and one roller coaster. Nearly 40 years after Hanna Barbera Land opened, it would offer essentially the same experiences with a new theme. A new generation of theme parks was being touted again. A theme park that could easily and cheaply be built in areas that again had a major theme park and was considered that it would not have to compete. And once again, like 4 decades ago, the next generation of amusement parks was back. And once again, like 4 decades ago, amusement park operators were looking at Texas. In 2025, the second Peppa Pig World is set to open near Dallas. And in 2026, Universal Studios is set to open the Universal Kids Resort in Frisco. It is described as a unique theme park experience for the younger crowd, a smaller scale theme park to inspire the creativity of kids through play, discovery, and imagination. While the 2 Texas kid theme parks of the 80s both failed, what was boasted as a new generation of theme parks was happening again. Over 40 years later, and luckily for them this time, Astroworld is no more. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Expedition Extinct. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe to join the expedition. A special thank you to our Patreons for supporting the channel. If you would like early video access, votes on upcoming episodes and more, check out our Patreon or join the expedition as a YouTube member. Follow us on social media for updates on upcoming episodes, and we will see you next time.
Hey, come and play. All the kids will say.